Alright, so I'm recording this. Okay, so this is Leap 360, and the one for today is for principals. I do have one Tuesday during the Teacher Development Week for STCs. And the one on Tuesday is going to be mainly for middle and high school because Cynthia is doing something with the elementary that day, but it will be recorded and I will put it on the Canvas course. So here's the Canvas course. I'm going to go ahead and copy the link. So if you're not in there, just go ahead and join. Alright, so let's see. So I'm going to go ahead and copy, and then I'm going to paste it in the chat area. Alright, so there's the link to the Canvas course. So if you click on the link, it'll bring you to Canvas and you can join the course automatically. So please make sure you do that. And if you're having trouble, let me know. Alright, but in the Canvas course for Leap 360, you have information for coordinators right here. And then down here, you have information for teachers. So teachers should join this Canvas course as well, because if you notice at the bottom right here in the Canvas course, there is information about reports for teachers. So teachers will go into DRC to get those reports, just like you would go into DRC to get your LEAP results from last year. So the same approach. So there's information for reports. There's general information for teachers right here, information about the diagnostic test, and one of the things that teachers will have to do when they give the diagnostic and the interims is they're going to have to go into DRC and score the writing responses. So that's where the educator scoring comes in. So there's all types of information here for them, and then there's their first two tasks right here. So task 1 and task 2 for teachers. All right, any question at this point? Everyone okay? All right, now this is an informal meeting, so if you have any questions, just go ahead and ask them. That's what happened on Monday. So just to let you know, Monday I had one as well, and here's the recording from Monday. The recording from Monday is right here. See where it says Leap 360 Overview for Principals? That's the one that we did Monday. Now, Cynthia sent all of you this form right here. And that's where you had to indicate who your school test coordinator will be, and all the rest were backups. So your DPK backup. There is no ANET, so I would just go ahead and skip section number 5. So there's no ANET this year. You would indicate the DNA backup, and then you would indicate the Leap 360 backup. Okay? So one of the questions that Ms. Aguilar is asking is, where will educators go to score the written responses? Okay, that's a good question. So just like principals, Ms. Aguilar would go in, and let me go ahead and move this out the way, would go in to find their results. So they're going to go into DRC, so la.drcedirect.com, and then they're going to log in. I'll go ahead and log in. And oops. And all right. So they're going to go to My Applications, and then right here, let me see if I can get to it without it moving away. Right here, you'll see Educator Scoring. All right, so principals, and I'm going to talk about this with the SECs on Tuesday, but principals, make sure they understand that they need access to DRC. So your STC is going to have to give them access, and I will show them how to do that if they don't already know how to do that on Tuesday. And I'm going to have a recording, so if they're not there, they always have access to the recording. So they're going to go here. So when they click on Educator Scoring right here, it'll bring them to this page, and then they would go under Administration right here, and they would select the Diagnostic Interim 24-25, and then their school will show up. I get all the schools, but their school will show up. I'll just click Arlington, Audubon, and then anything with an asterisk is required. So they're going to have to indicate the content area. So if they're grading the math, they'll click on math, and then they would show, and they could filter. They could filter by assessment. See all these right here? And they can filter by session if they know the session. But most teachers will just go ahead and show sessions. Nothing showing up because there's no session here. But if it did, they would get the sessions and then they would click on the session they need to score. All right, so Ms. Aguilar, did I answer your question?
Yes, you did. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Dr. Lacert's asking, will DRC be the only place to generate the data reports for all LEAP 360 data? Okay, so Dr. Earl is supposed to be working on something, and Ms. Okonski asked Dr. Earl to do this. So Dr. Earl will be working on a way to take the data that's in LEAP 360 and move it to EduClimber. And so in that way, you'll be able to have better reports on your subgroups. So that's one of the reasons she asked him to do that, because in LEAP 360 the data, they don't have them by subgroups. Remember last year you could filter by subgroups? You can't, there's no report in LEAP 360 that allows you to do that unless you go to the data file. And the data file is, that spreadsheet, and so you have to filter by all of those different columns. But Dr. Earl is supposed to be working on a way to do that. Dr. Lacerte, did that answer your question?
No, sir. So I retyped the question in a different way.
Okay. Does the data for LEAP 360 only generate to DRC? I'm assuming you're asking, is the data only in DRC? The answer is yes. I think that's your question.
Yes, that's my question. Thank
You're welcome. Yes, it's only in DRC. So teachers will need access to DRC only for that administration. So some principals may get a little concerned that when they hear teachers having access to DRC, they think they have access to like LEAP scores from last year. That's not the case. Your school test coordinator will assign them only the administration that they need to have, and that's only Diagnostic Interim. Okay, so if you have any other questions, just let me know as you go through this. So every question is important. Okay. All right, so then let's go back to the Canvas course. So I'm hoping that if you came in a little late, you can see the link in the chat area on how to enroll in the Canvas course. Now, principals, and I'm going to talk about this with the SECs on Tuesday, but you may not have that link for teachers. So the best way that teachers can enroll in Canvas is this way. And again, I'm recording this so you can show them this if you want to. But they're actually going to go to so I can get another page here. They're going to go to EBR website. So ebrschools.org. And they're going to go to Employee Portal, and then they're going to go to Quick Links right here. So they should all, except for new teachers, they should all be familiar with this website. So I'm going to go there, Quick Links, and then right here where's Canvas? Right here is Canvas. So you can click on Canvas, and it'll bring them to the sign-in page. Now I get in directly because I'm already in. But now what they need to do is enroll in the Canvas course. So they can go to right here where it has this little book-looking icon. They can go here, and up here they're going to click on All Courses, and then they're going to go to Browse More Courses. And then in that little search area, just type in LEAP 360, and then enter, and then they bring them to this, and they just click on join the course. So that's another way for them to do it if they don't have access to that link that I provided in the chat area. All right, any questions? Okay, now the next thing I want to talk about is right here, is the testing calendar right here. So it's under LEAP 360 General Information, so the testing calendar. So I'm going to click on this. So I'm going to click on the down arrow. And it's going to open it up. Let me go ahead and expand it. Alright, so there's the testing calendar. I'm going to go to ELA first. ELA is simpler. Alright, so there's the testing schedule for LEAP 360 for ELA. So the diagnostic will be from August 19th through September 13th. And then there's only one interim. So I need everyone to understand that with LEAP 360, there is just one interim. And that is from January 7th through the 30th for all grade levels. And the practice test is required. So in conjunction between accountability and instructional department of instruction, curriculum instruction, it was decided that the practice test for ELA will be required, and the dates for that will be February 3rd through March 14th. All right, any questions on the ELA part? Okay, ask questions if you need to. All right, so now we're going to go to the math. Math is a little bit more complicated. All right, so there's a question. Are these the same practice tests that are released on LDOE? Mr. Heyman, that is correct. So Mr. Heyman is asking this. So I just want to, and he brings up a point here that those practice tests are on the LDE website, not the interims, the practice tests. And you all, if you're principals, you're all aware of that. And I understand, Mr. Heyman, that these questions have been seen many times in the past. I understand that. But we felt that since there's only one interim, that there may be some schools that may want more information on their students before the LEAP test is actually given. So that's the reason why we made the practice test required for ELA, because there are some principals that do need more information about their students' performance before the LEAP test. Okay, but I understand what you're saying. It's still better to align to LEAP. Maybe next year we can adjust. Yeah, I'm hoping that what we learned this year will be used next year as well. Okay, now the math. It's a little bit more complicated. So the diagnostic is the same dates as the ELA, August 19th through the September 13th, but the interim 1 and interim 2 dates are different throughout, as you can see. Now math, there are 2 interims. ELA, there's only 1. Notice the practice test is optional for math because there's an extra interim provided. Notice the dates though. So it's going to be very important that your school test coordinator is aware of when those dates are for each of those grade levels. I do send reminders. You all know I send those tasks to school test coordinators as to what they need to be doing. So for each of those interim, for each of those dates, a few weeks before, I will send them a task that will indicate it is now time to create your test sessions. So for each of those interims, and even for the diagnostic, your school test coordinator will have to create test sessions. So even though I'm indicating that it's important they know the dates, I always send a reminder in terms of tasks. But those are the dates. So keep in mind, and let me go ahead and do this first. Keep in mind that, for example, 6th grade right here, that first interim is not until January 13th through the 31st. So it starts January 13th. Now, just to let you know, all of these dates here are based on where they fall in the curriculum. All right, so wherever the module ended for those standards is where those dates were placed. Okay, so if you look at the curriculum, Eureka curriculum in particular, you'll notice that if you go to the standards on the interim, on those interims, you'll notice that those modules end at different times. So that's why those dates are like that. And those dates were made in conjunction with accountability and curriculum. Okay. All right, and then there's your interim 2 dates right here. And then your practice test for math is optional. And the practice test for math is the same dates as the practice test for ELA. All right, any questions on the dates for math? All right, so it looks like the first one, I guess, is what? 5th grade? 5th grade math is actually Algebra 1 and 5th grade start around the same time, right? Yeah. So Algebra 1 and 5th grade start around the same time. So it's around October 28th, 30th. Okay, so everyone okay with what we've done so far? Any questions? All right, so Miss Hannah is saying we have created benchmark assessments in Elluminate for extra data points between the interim dates. All right, so remember that curriculum in their modules, they have end of module assessments. So you can also use those as extra ways to determine where your students are. Now, Miss Hannah, one of the questions that was asked before, and someone may ask it in a little while as well, but I'll just bring it up. One of the questions that was asked this past Monday was this, and I'm hoping you can answer it, or Mr. Robichaux can answer it. Mr. Robichaux is on here. And all of you, Mr. Robichaux is the Director of Instruction. Here's a question. Are those end of module assessments, are they mandatory or are they optional? Mr. Robichaux?
Thank you, Mike. The tests were created by Curriculum Instruction and working with Miss Laura Williams in the Chief of Schools office. I do believe that they are strongly advising schools to take those assessments that are in Elluminate. I don't know if specific guidance has come from that office yet. I know there's a few EDs on the call, but I do know that there is a focus to make sure that schools are taking those assessments.
Okay, thank you. All right, so it sounds like it's strongly recommended that schools give those end of module assessments to help enhance the data that you get from the LEAP 360. Is that a correct statement? Are we calling these CFAs? I'm not sure. Ms. Hannah, are those what's called the CFAs? Or just Ms. Robichaux?
I think Ms. Hannah's microphone's not working. Okay. She's texting me, so I'll just respond. I would just say that they're not. Yeah, okay. Like Ms. Hannah said, they're not. They are designed to reflect standards that were addressed in the unit and or module, depending on which content you're looking at, and it coincides exactly with when you finish that unit or module as to when you take the Elluminate assessment.
Okay, thank you. All right, Mr. Heyman, did I answer your question?
Yes,
okay.
My mic was off.
No,
sorry.
You're fine. Thank you. Okay, so before we move on, anything else that needs to be asked at this point? Okay, so there's the calendar. Now, here's the other thing that's going to be important for your SDCs and principals. Okay, right here is, I'm going to start with the diagnostic. Right here is which version do I give? There's a diagnostic, and then right here is which version do I give for the interim. That's going to be important. So when your school test coordinator creates those sessions, for example, I'm going to show you, I'm going to go to LEAP, I'm going to go to DRC. I have stuff open, I can't find it. All right, I'm going to go to DRC. So when they go to create the test session, so test management, manage test sessions, we're on LEAP 360 diagnostic. I'm gonna just stick with Audubon, and then I'm gonna scroll down. I'm just gonna click add session. So when they go to add a session, I want you to notice something. They're gonna pick the content area. So let's say it's math 3 through 8. They're gonna pick an assessment. So let's say it's grade 4. And then they're going to, which one was this? I got to figure out what, oh, I didn't mean diagnostic. All right, so right here, see where it says the interims? So there are different forms for the interims. You'll see different forms. It'll say Form 1, Form 2. Then sometimes it will say Form 2A, 2B. Then sometimes it will say Form 1A, Form 1B, and so on. All right, so that was the math. Now if we go to ELA, it'll do the same thing. So I'll pick an assessment. Notice the different forms for the diagnostic. Grade 3, Form 1A, 1B, 1C, 2A, 2B, 2C. So you see the different forms. So it's going to be very important that the school test coordinators, when they create those test sessions like you see here, that they're using the correct form. If they're using the wrong form, DRC is not going to go in and delete this for us. This is a free service, so it's not going to be deleted. So it's very important that your school test coordinators know that they have to use the correct forms. Otherwise, the data is not going to help much. All right, so here's where we're going to get those form numbers. So I'm going to go back to the Canvas course. All right, right here, it says which version do I use for the diagnostic. So if I click on this, and I can't expand this for ELA, for math it's easy. Math, there's only one form for the diagnostic. So no one should make a mistake with math. Now, English is different. All right, so this is the diagnostic. For ELA grades 3, 4, and 6, the curriculum department determined that the expository part will be needed. So that's going to be Form 1B. 5th grade, L2E, for some reason, and they've never changed it for some reason, is that expository is actually Form 1A, not Form 1B. So even though the expository is going to be used for grades 3, 4, 5, and 6, they're not all the same form. 5th grade is actually Form 1A for expository, so it's important that they know which forms to use. And then for 7, 8, English 1, and English 2, they're going to use Form 1A, which is argument. All right, so any questions on the form idea here? So they have to keep track of which forms need to be used. All right, so now I'm going to go back to interims this time. All right, so here are the interim forms. So to get the interim forms, we're going to go here on the interim information. Which version do I give? So when I click on this, all right, so this time it's in a table format because the different grade levels have different forms for both math and ELA. All right, so here the ELA is in green and then math is in blue. Notice that there's only one interim, so you'll see here where it says interim 2 right here, it says no assessment available in LEAP 360 for interim 2 for ELA. So notice that for ELA, when we do the interim 1, and remember ELA for interim 1 is going to be in January for all of these. So when the test coordinator, your school test coordinator, creates a session for interim 1, they have to use Form 1B for grade 3, Form 1A for grade 4, Form 1B for grade 5, Form 1A, 1A, 1A for 6, 7, and 8. And there's only one form for English, and that's Form 1. Okay? And then for math, notice interim 1, the only difference is 7th grade, which is going to be Form 1B. So remember a while ago when I went through the creating a test session, they had different forms. So for math, they have to use Form 1B, not Form 1A, Form 1B for grade 7 math. And then interim 2 is going to be 6 and 7. That's different from the others. So 6 and 7 have different forms for the second interim. So they have to use Form 2A for both, not 2B, 2A. All right, so any questions on this? So as principals, it's going to be important that you emphasize to the teachers about these forms that they have to be aware of. Okay? All right, any questions?
I know you said that the ELA interim was in January. When are the math interims?
All right, so it's in the calendar right here. So the math are right here. To answer your question?
Yes, thank you
You're
so
welcome.
much.
All right, so those.
Hey, Michael, this can be found in the Canvas
Yep.
course.
Yeah. So I'll show you again. So we're going to go to the Canvas course. So remember I gave you the link in the chat area for the Canvas course. So under LEAP 360 General Information, here's a testing calendar right here. So that's where you're going to find those two tables for math and ELA. All right. And then right here are which versions do I give for diagnostic, which version do I give for interim. Now, one of the things that principals always ask is this, and I'm pointing to it. LEAP 360 does not provide achievement levels. You're not going to get which students are advanced. You're not going to get which students are mastery, and so on. That only is given to you for the summative test, not for the interims, not for the formative test, only the summative test. Okay? All right, and then they do give suggested times. So let me show you where those are, because there's always some schools that want to use suggested times for those interims. So right here in the Canvas course, right here on the diagnostic, you'll see, suggested times right here for the diagnostic. And then I believe for the interims, I think this may be the same one for the interims maybe? Well, I'm not sure. Let me just click on this and see. So these are suggested times. All right, so the following resource indicates suggested times for the diagnostic test. So let me click on this and see what's there. And it says the suggested times from, the suggested times from math on page 29 and 25. Let me just open that up. All right, so these are the suggested times that I got from the Teacher's Guide to LEAP 360, and I'll show you where I got that from. But remember English 3, so these are the English ones up here, and these are the math. So English 3, for example, session 1 is the suggested time is 35 minutes. Session 2, the suggested time is 35 minutes. Session 3, the suggested time is 35 to 40 minutes. And these are the total times for the diagnostic. Okay? And then notice that right here, let me expand it. Notice it says these are suggested times taken from pages 16 through 19 and 29 through 30 on a teacher's guide to LEAP 360. All right, so if as a principal you want to mimic the test in terms of timing, then you can do that. Now remember, you do have some students that have extended time, so those times are not applied to them. So with the interims and with the diagnostic, you still have to provide students with their accommodations. So just keep that in mind. Anytime you're dealing with a school-based assessment, whether it's formative or summative, you do have to provide their students their accommodations. All right, any question at this point? All right, let me go back to the Canvas course. Well, where am I? All right. Okay, so those were suggested times. I thought I had suggested times for the interims. I'm not sure where I put those. Okay. Or maybe I haven't done that yet. But here's the teacher's guide to LEAP 360 is right. I got that from here. See right here? I'm going to click on it or kind of show you where it is. Right here in the teachers, it says LD website, LEAP 360. So if I click on it, it will bring you to the Louisiana Department of Education website, and that's where the LEAP 360 information is. So you'll see Teacher's Guide to LEAP 360 right here, the online tools training, which is going to be important for students to practice with, and then scroll down and you have these different resources. Now if you click right here, for example, this one here, or it doesn't matter whether you do the interim or the diagnostic quick start guide, I'll just go ahead and click on the diagnostic one, the quick start guide, and notice that teachers can go into this access link right here and take the test as a student would take it online, and they've always had that ability. So if you click right here, this one here, the teacher access link, hopefully it'll work. The other day it didn't work. I'm hoping it'll work this time. But if I click on this, okay, it says loading data. It did that last time. I'm not sure why it's not sure. But it just keeps saying loading data. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But once it shows up, then they'll be able to enter the username and password, and they'll be able to take the test as a student would. I'm not sure why, and it's aggravating because it's just not showing up. You're supposed to get the login page, username and password here. I'm not sure if any of you are getting the same thing, if you tried it. Mr. Robichaud, can you try and see? I'm not sure if you know where I'm at. If you can click on the teacher access link and see if you're getting the same thing I'm getting here, or if you actually,
Yeah.
you getting the same thing?
I'll try right
Okay.
now. I haven't tried it yet,
Okay,
but I will.
thank you. All right, and they can do the same thing for the interims. Now, keep in mind that you remember this year, grade 3 schools still have the option of giving the paper version or the online version for the summative test. Remember, for diagnostic and interims, all students will take grade 3. All students will take the diagnostic and interim online. All right, so don't use the paper version for diagnostic or interim. Even if your school is given grade 3 LEAP on paper, we need for you to give the grade 3 diagnostic and the grade 3 interim online, so that way the results will be available for your teachers and for the district level staff. Okay? All right, any question at this point? All right, anything else so far? Okay. The rest of this is going to be where you see all these reports here. So here are different reports that are accessible by test coordinators. So you have student level reports. So you can click on these and see what I have available. And then there's information on how to find those reports. Right now there are no reports. If you go in DRC and you try and do anything with this, you're not going to get anything. And then for teachers, these are the reports available. There are student reports and there's multi-level reports for teachers. And then how to find those reports. Now for you see where it says remote access? That remote access should only be used by EBR Virtual for their students that are taking these courses virtually. So that remote access is there only for EBR Virtual School. Everyone else will take the test at their school. All right. Okay, so Mr. Robichaud is saying that DRC is giving him the same message. So what I did yesterday was I sent Chris Boisia in IT that link, and I'm telling you the truth here, sent him the link. He sent something back that says it works for him. I clicked on the link I sent him and it worked. It was the same link here, the one we're using, so I'm not sure what's going on. Let me go to that. Let me see if I can find that email just to see if it's working real quick. So I'm going to the email I said Chris Boisia. UYSHA. All right. So okay. So this was what I sent him real quick. Hopefully it'll work here. So Mr. Robichaud, what you clicked on looked something like this. DRC, this right here. And that works. So what I copied and pasted to him worked. This is what you should get. and when a teacher goes in and puts that username and password, then they'll be able to take the test as a student would. But that's what they're supposed to get, this right here. So maybe what I might do is actually just copy and paste this. And let me put it in chat area. That way you could probably save it yourself and then maybe give it to teachers, because the one that's on the teacher's guide is not working. All right, so let me go ahead and take this out. All right. Anything else? Oh, by the way, no one, and I need to take this out right here. Requesting student list SID. So, and I can't remember exactly, but all students are in DRC for Leap 360 based on eScholar. So once your school enrolls students in JCampus, then that student will be in Leap 360. So the teachers will not need to add anyone. eScholar will place them into Leap 360. Okay. So no school should be adding students manually. Everything is rostered through eScholar. All right. Anything else? All right. So Ms. Briscoe, this is teach. Okay. Okay. All right. Anything? I think that's all I wanted to say for principals. On Tuesday, when the STCs for middle and high school will come, that's where I'm going to show them how to create the test sessions. So like I did earlier, I went through doing that. That's where I'm going to show them how to do all that. It's important, principals, that you remind your school test coordinators that they still have to provide students that need accommodations. They need to provide their accommodations with the diagnostic also. All right. Okay. Now, did everyone? Let me go and get the sign in link again. Make sure you signed in. Again. All right. So. All right. So I am pasting the sign in link here. So if you can just go ahead and sign in, I'd appreciate it. Okay. That's all I had for today. Anything y'all need to ask? Executive directors, anything in particular? Seems complicated.
No, thank you.
Miss,
I'm sure we'll have questions.
oh
once
yeah,
we
yeah,
start using
and
it
I'll have
yesterday,
office
but
hours like I did for ANET. And then the schools can always call or email if they have questions. Mr. Heyman, what seems complicated about it?
Anything associated with these practice tests has been real buggy and hard to
You're
use
talking
in
about the
my
practice test? You're
experience.
talking about the interims?
Well, I'm talking
Okay.
about the practice test. The interims, I mean, I don't think we'll have the same. I think
Yeah.
that'll be okay.
The practice tests are really supposed to be used for instructional purposes where you take bits and pieces of it rather than taking full-fledged tests. But that was the intent of the practice test. But the interims, you should take those, and teachers use the information for instructional purposes as well.
I I came in late, Michael. I'm sorry to ask this question, but so this is replacing
Yes, it
ANET?
is. Yeah,
Okay.
you're welcome.
Okay. Thank you.
Until,
Mr. Dozat, this is Tate at Park
yes,
Medical.
ma'am.
Can we look forward to any social studies and science interims
So,
or in
no,
this
so Leap 3,
platform?
I'm sorry, hold on. Let me just mute this. I'm sorry. So Leap 360 is only for math and ELA. Now, remember, curriculum has those end of module assessments for science and social studies as well. So remember, Mr. Robichaux indicated that those are strongly encouraged to use. So for science and social studies, I would use the end of course, I'm sorry, end of module assessments that curriculum has.
Yeah, I just thought we might be transferring them to one
Well, they are
platform.
in Illuminate. Now, if you're asking if they're in DRC, the
Right.
answer is no. But
Okay.
the end of module assess end of module assessments are in Illuminate, and Miss Bennett is also reminding you that the pre and post test are also in Illuminate. Now remember, pre and post tests, which is done by our office by accountability, those have never been mandated. Now schools use them, and you know why schools use them. They use them for SLT purposes mainly, although they really should be using them to see where students are when they come into the school year. But they still use them for SLTs. But you do have the pre and post test in Illuminate. All
Thank
right.
you.
Okay. You're welcome. Anything else? And all those questions are needed questions to be asked.
Mr.
Uh-huh.
Dozat, excuse me. This is Erica Aguilar. Will this session be offered again to
So
leaders?
I sent Miss Williams, and I think y'all were on the executive directors on that email when Miss Williams said it conflicted with what was happening today at PDC. And I said if there's a particular time that y'all think I should do this again, to please let me know. So Miss Aguilar, if because there's always going to be some conflict, right, with whatever we do. So Miss Aguilar, if there is a particular time you want me to do this again with leaders, please let me know and I'll work my schedule around it. Yep.
Thank you. Because I know we have several leaders
Mhm.
that are not on. So I was
Yeah,
just,
no, definitely.
asking.
So my next one is Tuesday, but that's with SDCs. And so So the week after
Yes.
that, before the 19th, that following the week before the 19th, I'm gonna have 2 or 3 more sessions for school test coordinators. But if Miss Williams needs me to do another session for principals and executive directors or any district leaders, please let me know what will be the best time. Because I don't know what other departments are doing in terms of PDs. I don't have access to that. So I would need your help with that. Yep.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? All right. Mr. Heyman left. Do y'all think he's okay? All right. Mr. Robichaux, you had anything to add? All right. I do want to thank Mr. Robichaux for helping me with the scheduling the times for the math. And he was quick at that. He knew where everything was. Okay. If you don't have anything else, I think that's it. Now, Mr. Ham, I'm sorry. Mr. Heyman made a mistake. Made a statement to inflate their SLTs. I'm not sure what he meant by that. To inflate their SLTs. Okay.
Well, sometimes teachers get creative with their scoring when they administer those Illuminate assessment
Oh,
themselves.
okay. Okay. Thank you. Is there a sign-in sheet? Yes, I'm gonna put the link back. I think I still have that link here. I'm hoping that's it. Yeah. So, Ms. Johnson, I put the link back in the chat area. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's it. Unless you have anything else, and Ms. Aguilar, please let me know when you need me to do the next one for school leaders and district leaders. All right,
Thank you,
great.
sir. Will do.
Okay, so I did record it. And there I don't have to blur out anything. Like last time, I had some email addresses all over the place, so I had to blur quite a bit. So I don't have to do anything here. So I should send this out to y'all, the recording to y'all today, and y'all can send it to whoever you want to. You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, definitely.
We
Anytime.
appreciate it.
All right, so I will end this. If you have any questions, let me know. You're welcome, Miss Tate.